Hello, dear paraglider pilots in Belgium. Let me tell you quickly about how to plan a flight for dummies. When I want to plan a flight in the morning, the first website I'm going to is Meteo Parapente to check the conditions. These are the conditions for tomorrow. This is a paying website. You can only see 2 out of 3 days. Today, for example, I have to pay for. But tomorrow is for free, the forecast. Oh, green looks good. Green means 2 meters per second average thermals. This might be even a bit too strong for a beginner like me. And these are quite soft conditions. But the first thing that I look at is the wind direction and speed on the ground to check for the places where I can take off. I'm zooming out. Oh, the wind is too strong here, definitely, but I need to find green areas or lower, green or blue, between 13 and 20 kilometers per hour with a southwest side wind. My preferred side could be Co, and at Co, the wind at takeoff is doable, but it will quickly increase a little bit higher. The next thing I'm going to look at is the thermal speed, and this is difficult, but let's pretend that it is a perfect day and I want to make a flight in this direction. Could be good. If I reach Germany, I could go even further because airspace is not so stringent over there. So how do I check this, the places where I can fly? Well, I go to the Friendly Airspace Tool, which allows to plan flights in Belgium and to check your flights afterwards for airspace infractions. So this is the website, mids.be, NOTAM, etc. But if you can just remember Friendly Airspace Tool and can Google it, then you'll find this website. Maintained by the BPC group, who check airspace files every morning, and for the moment still for free. I see a map of Belgium over here, but there are not too many zones inside. Must be something wrong. What can I do to have the actual airspace of today? Well, I could go and select an open airspace file from my computer, or I could choose the ones that they have already checked. For tomorrow, 19th, none is available yet, but let's pretend that we're 18th of July 2019 today, and you can see that I have the option to choose between an airspace zone with, so including the danger zones that we are legally allowed to fly in, or without the danger zones for the people who don't want to take the risk to encounter helicopters or other F-16s or other aircraft that are exercising in a danger zone. Of course, you can meet them everywhere, but let's say that I am a very careful person and that I would like to have all the danger zones included for me. Well, even by clicking it, I cannot see anything yet on the map, so I should press Go to see the airspaces and NOTAMs in Belgium. Oh, it seems that Belgium is full of zones. Yes, indeed. There are a lot of places where you cannot fly. For example, if you hover the mouse over the zones, the TMA of Liège, the Brussels TMA, then we have Charleroi, we have Florennes, we have Kleine Brogel, etc. But luckily for me, it seems that when I'm starting from Co in a northeasterly direction with southwest wind, I have some space where I can fly. So let's have a look at the zones that are limiting my airspace. We have Elsenborn over here, that is in the middle of the place where I want to go, so I need to avoid this. It goes from the ground until 5,000 meters that I'm not allowed to fly in anyway because it's a weekday, so my maximum altitude will be 1,362 meters with this QNH. What else do we have? An helicopter training area at low altitude, 0 to 76 meters, so I should be careful when taking off and landing. And another helicopter training area. So these are the zones that are want to avoid, and I would like to load them into my flight instrument so that I will get warnings and so that they will be visible on my flight instrument. To export this whole file with all these zones to my flight instrument, I select the airspace file that I want to use. So I'm a careful pilot, so I take including the danger zones. And then over here, I can export my open air file to my instrument. So I can save it on my computer and then transfer it to my FlyMaster, to XC-Track, to XC-Soar, to my Kobo, and so on. So to do that, I can choose between flight level or meters AMSL. And then I can download it here. You can see it at the bottom that I've downloaded the file. Let's see, just for fun, what the difference would be if I am a more riskful pilot and that I am willing to fly in danger zones as well. We choose another file and press go. And now you can see when I exclude the danger zones that Belgium is a lot more flyable, but you need to be aware that you might encounter F-16s, that you might encounter helicopters who are training and so on. So keep your eyes and ears open because they have difficulties to avoid us. Stay away from our craft, please. Thank you. And the main thing that you can still see on my map is that the Elsenborn region is still active. So this one will be the main limiting factor in my flight if I take off with this wind. So I must be going north or south of this area. If I want to gather some BPC points, I can try to connect these, or I can try to connect these, all whilst taking care about the danger zones, the helicopter training area that is active over here. So if I would like to export this file, I select it over here and I click the button over here. Now, some of you might be using a FlyMaster with a rather limited airspace memory for these airspace files. So there are zones in Belgium where I'm not going to fly tomorrow anyway, because I will be flying in this direction. You can manually remove zones from the map and also from the file that you're going to export. To do that, you click here, and all the things that you want to export, you can select them here. Or click them here, and as you see, everything that is marked in yellow, let me take a visual, let's take the EBR. So you can see while I'm clicking them, they are being removed from my list. And this makes your airspace file a lot lighter to be imported in your instrument, in your FlyMaster. All right, so the only zones that the BPC team is checking is the east of Germany, the north of France, and the south of Belgium. So I've made my my airspace file a lot lighter now by removing these zones, and then I can export it and save it under a different name, so that you know that mainly this Elsenborn zone will be in the airspace file. All right, that's about it, except for one more thing, and that is that after your flight, you can also check your flight compared to the airspace file of that zone, of that day, sorry. So let's say that I have been flying today, and that this was my flight. I open it, and now if I click go, then I will see if I have made any mistakes during my flight. This helps you to self-evaluate before you would post your flight on internet or post it on X Contest or Leonardo or the BPC group or to learn from your mistakes, of course. So if we have a look at this, then you can see that I've flown from this is probably Borin in this direction, and it seems that I've made a mistake. I've been flying in this EBD 26 Ardennes zone. I've entered it at 3 o'clock, and I've made these infractions, so I was a little bit lower, and then I've entered it again, so I've made two big mistakes compared to this open air file, to this airspace file. But let's have a look if I have really made any mistakes. So because I'm legally allowed to fly in the danger zones, so if we do the same exercise again, (2018), let's say that this was my flight of today. I press go. Then you can see vol valide, which means my flight was valid, and I can upload it to the BPC website and post it for to get my points. So thank you for listening. If you have more questions, don't hesitate to post something below. Thank you.